What had happened was a couple of days ago, Anna and I got out of church. I was feeling pretty light in spirit. Um, we have our schedule, our regularly scheduled grocery trip after going to church. So we get stuff that we need for the week. We get our groceries. We're headed out to the parking lot, loading our groceries into the car, and a man approaches us. And typically, when this happens, for some reason, these people always approach Anna first, which I am very cautious of. And in the moment, I can, I offer what little change I have on hand. But this time, the man approached me directly, asking just straight up for a meal, not even cash. He asked for a meal. And it was a knee jerk reaction. Typically, I'm very on guard, and I still was in this moment, but knee jerk reaction to just say, yeah, sure. And so I gave the keys to Anna. I'm like, okay, you can finish up here. I'm going to walk him inside real quick. And so we did. We got to chatting. Told me his name was Dan, that he's homeless, this was one of the first times he had ever asked a stranger for food, as he was newly homeless. And I felt for him, and we were talking more, and came to understand that he has cancer, and which was rough to hear. And so we're talking some more. I already bought him his food, and we're heading out to the parking lot, and we were about to part ways, but I wanted to keep talking and just to find out more. And one way or another, he has some limitations on accessing his finances right now, in at his bank, and there's been some roadblocks in his way of securing those finances for himself. So he's living frugally right now. He's homeless. Because of his cancer treatment, he is incapacitated for days at a time after each treatment, meaning it's hard for him to hold down a job so that he can continue to provide for himself. And another way to combat his cancer is through a very strict diet. And unfortunately, cheap food is not healthy food most of the time. And so that's been a struggle for him as well. In finding all this out, the Lord is talking to me during all of this and just nudging at my heart, saying, this is one you can help. And I had doubts, and admittedly still do, from the enemy. Yeah, still have some doubts. But the Lord has satiated those doubts since then. I decided to ask him. I'm like, hey, I service nonprofits on a regular basis, and I wanted to know if you'd be interested in making a video together. You and I, we sit down, and you tell your story, and we ask, that people online could extend some help, whether it be, finances, obviously, or even prayer. And he was elated at that idea. So we decided to exchange information, and we had been in communication for those few days, just checking in on scheduling for myself, as Anna and I tried to move out of this apartment. And so yesterday, we sat down at a park. Before we even started, I didn't even ask for this, but he had brought his bag with him, and he immediately, I'm sitting at a bench table, and he immediately pulls out all of this paperwork. He had a folder full of papers, just chock full of it, papers spilling out, and he immediately pulls out his wallet and shows me some IDs and says that, he wanted to confirm that he is who he is. And I said, thank you, and you don't have to do that. And he said, no, I want to. I want to make sure that you know that I'm legit. So I'm like, okay, I can confirm, I can vouch for him, that he is Dan Grubbs, that he is a U.S. vet. He showed me papers that coincide with that fact, that he did serve, but also, unfortunately, that he does have cancer. I was able to look at those kinds of documents, diagnosis, and doctor's appointments and such, that he does in fact have chronic lymphatic leukemia. Yeah, that struck a chord with me, so we got to work. It was really humbling to hear his story. I mentioned in the video that I heard a conversation earlier this week that was very unsympathetic. It was a unsympathetic perspective on people struggling on the street. It was just great to be able to talk to him. I feel like I made a new friend, and I will be checking in on him regularly. But basically, this video is an effort to get him a little boost in his time of trying to fight his condition. It would be great if he would be able to eat those healthy foods for him to starve the cancer, to do it a natural way, but also to help move him along in life as he's unable to work due to his treatment. So for those of you out there still listening, if not $5, then maybe you can send him $1. And if you can't send any money, please share this video. If you don't feel like sharing the video, then at the very least, pray. And above all else, just pray, please, for Dan Grubbs. He is a great guy, and just down on his luck right now. It's no mistake that I got to meet him, and will continue to serve him. So, thank you for listening, and here's the rest of the video.
Hello, I'm Dan Grubbs, and I'm here today with Anthony Rodriguez, a godsend. Met him a couple days ago, and I was actually hungry, and I asked him for some help to feed me, and he did. He also came up with a great idea to try to help me out, and I do need help. He said, I'm going to put together a couple of short videos for you, and I'm going to blast it out there to my friends and family and associates to see if anyone out there might be willing to help you. He said that, he thought that it would be a good cause, and I appreciate that. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I served in the Marine Corps from 85 to 1990, and I didn't see any action, but that's okay. I appreciate that. I have been pretty successful in life. I've had a couple of great jobs, and all the way up until I started my own business about 6 years ago, I started my own business, and I washed houses, high-end houses, soft wash houses and roofs, and pressure washed all hard surfaces. And I was doing very well in life until Corona came along. Corona hit me, and business slowed down about 90% of my business slowed down because I was getting my business from knocking on doors, direct marketing. And then I made an untimely investment due to Corona. I had my truck stolen and just a series of bad luck that really crippled me down with my business, and I got it going, but I fought through all of that, and I got it going pretty good again. And I had something occur, I had some pain. I thought I was passing a kidney stone, and I went to the hospital, and I found out I was diagnosed with cancer. And from that point, things have just kind of gone downhill for me. I got CLL, chronic lymphatic lymphoma, leukemia. I have continued to work while I could, but one of the main side effects of the cancer is chronic fatigue. And man, the best I can describe it is that it would be like getting knocked out in a boxing match, and the guy's standing there counting over you, and you need to get up because you're getting counted out, but you just can't seem to get up off the mat and get on your feet. That's how hard my life has become in the last few months. But it was a transition into that. I was having, some good weeks and some good weeks, and then some bad weeks, and then it turned into some good days and some bad days along the way. And I kept working and doing side jobs while I could, but in the recent last few months, I haven't been able to work at all. Due to not being able to work, I have become homeless. I do get a little bit of disability pay from the government as being a disabled veteran, but it's just not enough. At current, I'm not able to work because I'm taking a combination of drugs, getting treated for the cancer, chemo, and rofloxacin. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but these medicines make you really sick, really tired, and I'm just not able to get up and go. I can't hold a job right now at the moment. So until I can get through these cancer treatments, and hopefully that's going to put me into that it could put me in remission, and it could get me another 3 to 5 years of life. But he's saying that's about the best I could hope for. I do currently have a lawsuit against a class action lawsuit against Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, because when we lived on the base, the water was contaminated, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that are coming down with this cancer that I have, and other sicknesses as well. And we're looking at getting a settlement of somewhere around $600,000 is what I'm looking at. Sometime between now, 6 months and a year from now is the projections on that. So if I do go into remission and I do get that money, then I would be able to support myself comfortably until my end days. Until then, I got to keep battling every day. I have to keep fighting the cancer, keep trying to survive. And I don't have any source of income. I don't have any help. So if anyone could help me out there, I would greatly appreciate it. If it was $1, or if it was $5, I would be grateful. I set up a couple of Cash Apps. One is at Cash App, Daniel Grubbs, money sign, capital D, little a, little n, capital G, 3333. That's $ Dan G 3333. I also set up one with Venmo. That would be Daniel Grubbs at DANG 3333. That's capital D, little a, little n, capital G 3333. If you care to help me out, again, I'd be grateful for any help I could get. You can go ahead and send it to that Cash App right there, and know that I'm going to spend it on things that just for the purpose of survival. Food, clothes, wash, laundry, things like that. It's rough, but got to keep going. I got to keep fighting, and any help I can get, I'd appreciate.
Could I ask you something personal?
Sure.
So, I heard something yesterday that it was really troubling to hear. That was a comment that someone, I was at some kind of brunch kind of thing. A comment that someone said that was very unsympathetic to people in your position, just kind of high and mighty, saying, that they would rather give a man a fishing pole instead of a fish, kind of that to that extent, and saying to the extent of they don't believe handouts are the way to go, but especially in your position.
No, I understand.
That kind of thing, which is not something I agree with, but I think to that thought, what would you have to say to that kind of person?
Well, I totally understand that. I've not been this person for very long. I was on the other side.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of people walk up to me and ask me for help throughout the years, and it's a choice you have to make at the time. Is this person genuinely hurting, or is this person just a lazy person that don't want to work and don't want to help himself? That's a maybe this person's going through, and here's what I think is the difference. There are people out here that are genuinely in a bad situation, you know, due to a set of circumstances, whether they're sick or whether it's a loss of job or, you know, maybe a divorce that was devastating to them or whatever. There are people out here that are very genuine, and there are a lot of people out here that aren't genuine. There are people out here that don't want to work, they're lazy, and they are just looking for a handout, and they're never going to try and help themselves, okay? I think as an individual on that side of the fence, that you can't prejudge everybody, or you can't stereotype everybody, because everybody's not in the same situation. There's truly people in a bad situation, okay? Like, I can't help the fact that I have cancer, you know? I didn't do anything to deserve that cancer, I don't think, but I got it anyways. They say it's because of Camp Lejeune, the water being contaminated. That's not my fault. I was working and doing very well in life. Now I'm in a position where the chronic fatigue is so bad that I was even late getting here to this interview to get some help. Not because I chose to be, it's just because it's that hard to force yourself to move forward. When you're in, it's not your reality unless you've experienced it. Unless you've seen a UFO, you don't know if UFOs are real. Unless you've seen a ghost, you don't know if ghosts are real. Unless you've been through a really painful, chronic situation in your life, like maybe back pain or something else, you don't know what someone's going through because you've never experienced it. It's not your reality. Now, it's easy to put people in one category out there, but there are truly people out there that are in a situation that's uncontrollable to them and that they can't do anything about, versus people out here that or just gave up on life or have quit or just refused to work or whatever it is that they're doing. And I've seen both out here, being on the streets. I've seen both. And I do my best to stay away from those kind of homeless people. And what I found that there is a lot of people out here that could help themselves. They do need a fishing pole, all right? But there are people out here, such as me, that really need help because they're unable to help themselves.